Hello students, in the last class we discussed the summary of Tughlaq from scene 1st to 4th. Today we will discuss about the summary of scene 5th to 8th. The scene shifts to a house in Delhi where Sahabuddin and Ratan Singh, the Amirs and the Sayyids, are involved in a discussion that aims to curb the tyranny of the Sultan. The Amirs attempt to influence Shahabuddin by talking about the adverse effects of the Sultan's policies on them. They project the Sultan as blasphemous and implore Shahabuddin to act on their behalf. They reveal the underbelly of the Sultan's seemingly tolerant nature. The Sultan had prevented the citizens from attending Sheikh's address, even as he was waiting in front of the great mosque and getting disappointed as they did not turn up for the gathering. Fires of discontent about the Sultan's tyrannical behavior and despotic domination are seen to soar high in this scene. The proposed shift of capital from Delhi to Daulatabad is vigorously debated. In the opinion of the Amirs, the shift is a trap to disempower them. Since Daulatabad is a place where, with a majority of Hindu population, the Amirs, along with Ratan Singh, successfully managed to persuade Shahabuddin to engage in the plot of the murder of Sultan. It is decided by common conscience that Tughlaq would be murdered on the day of his Darbar-e-Khas. At the time of prayer, although Shahabuddin strongly opposes such a move, he eventually consents to the plan. The plan is presented as advancing the cause of Islam, and the murder of the Sultan is presented as an act of deliverance from tyranny and insecurity. Towards the end of the scene, Shahabuddin is still in two minds about the appropriateness of the proposed act of murder. The Amirs meet the Sultan for the Darbar-e-Khas in scene 6, and various issues are taken up for discussion and negotiation. The Sultan announces that copper currency would be introduced in his kingdom and that it will have the same value as silver dinars. This move further disappoints the Amir. Shahabuddin advises the Sultan not to move to Daulatabad as it might invite the hatred of many of his citizens. The Sultan remains adamant about the proposed shift and doesn't listen to the suggestions made by Shahab. The Amirs, along with Shahab, initiate the plan for the murder by the time of Muazzins, call for prayer, but are immediately held captive by Sultan's Hindu soldier. Shahabuddin is mercilessly stabbed by the Sultan himself in a fit of rage. Tughlaq emerges as a brute and a merciless murderer in this scene. Any amount of sympathy that the readers might have had for him in the earlier scene is lost after this episode. He announces that the corpses of all the conspirators must be hanged publicly for people to learn a lesson. He also bans all prayer in his kingdom, but Nazib advises him to suspend all prayers till the anticipated arrival of Ghiyasuddin Abbasid, a descendant of the Khalifa. Scene 7 is the route from Delhi to Daulatabad, where Aziz, still dressed as Brahmin, swindles innocent citizens on their way to the new capital and makes money out of it. Aziz is presented as a worldly, wise and cunning person. He lives by cheating others of their money. He manipulates the order and decision of the Sultan and cons people in the name of the law. When Ajam questions him, he answers, "You have been in Delhi for so many years and you are as stupid as ever. Look at me, only a few months in Delhi and I have discovered a whole new world, politics. My dear fellow, that's where our future is politics. It's a beautiful world, wealth, success, position, power, and yet it is full of brainless people. People with not an idea in their head." He sufficiently justifies his actions and invents new methods of cheating fellow citizens with every changing circumstances. Scene 8. The scene quickly shifts to Daulatabad, the new capital. The two sentries guarding the fort comment on the progression of events. On the way to Daulatabad, the family of the older official died on the way, and he considers himself to be unfortunate enough to have survived this calamity. They discusses the rather unhappy and sober state of affairs in the fort. Tughlaq suddenly arrives on the spot and opens his heart out to the young sentry 19. Nice age. An age when you think you can clasp the whole world in your palm like a rare diamond. I was 21 when I came to Daulatabad first. I built this fort. I supervised the placing of every brick in it, and I said to myself, one day I shall build my own history like this. Brick by brick, he reminisces the moment when he had arrived with his citizens to Daulatabad. He was overflowing with hope and enthusiasm, which eventually died out. His disturbed and perplexed state of mind is exposed in this scene. He suffers from qualms of conscience and inner agony. The news of armies marching towards his kingdom unnerves him. He confides in Burney, the historian, who provides timely advice to him by suggesting that it is high time he considered giving up the ruthless bloodshed and murder. The scene ends with the shocking news of the sudden murder of Najib, the courtier and the close associates of Tughlaq. So in the next class, we will discuss from scene 9 to 13.